Okay. And, okay. Okay, so this is so true. Literally, I'm telling you, the people that I live with, they, I'm telling you this right now. I was just saying this morning that I always see so many cars outside and I never see people. I never see people, and I'm going to tell you this. I think that people get hurt here a lot. I think that people even die here a lot. And I'm going to tell you this. I believe in quantum immortality, right? Where I believe that like people that like God saves people, you know what I mean? But I'm being so serious when I'm telling you that like very recently I've been smelling dead bodies, okay? And I know y'all remember this from my last apartment, okay? And I started smelling dead bodies. I called the health department and they moved me right away. And actually one of the guys that I started dating before Isaac and I got engaged and everything, he works for real estate, right? And Isaac's sister works in real estate too. And anyone that has ever worked in real estate can tell you that sometimes in like, you know, foreclosed infrastructure, there are squatters, there are froggers, whatever. I'm not saying that about the people who live here. But what I am saying is that sometimes, you know, it's just if you smell a dead body, it's usually because there are dead bodies around. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, this is just me. I think Disney Spring, and I'm going to tell you this because you know about me. My first apartment on Manor Court, so it was owned by Disney, right? Now it's bulldozed, thank fucking God, because there was the worst poltergeist of all time there, like literally that I've ever been through in my entire life, and I tried to do everything I could to fight it, but it's neither here nor there. When they bulldozed it, they were like, oh, we're gonna build a Westin on top of it. I believe the Westin is not going to have a poltergeist, it's going to like be beautiful and everything, but they did nothing for me there. Nothing. You understand me? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you are to Disney. It does not matter who you are to Disney. Disney does not care. Disney will eat you, chew you up, and spit you out. It does not fucking matter. Literally will leave your ass for dead and will not think twice about it. Will not ask two questions about it. So you do not fucking think that like the people who live here in the Springs, there are two here in Cape Coral, and in the conglomerate of the Disney Springs of it all, you don't feel like that they would be overlooked or that they would, you know, be just not prioritized. You get what I'm saying? Like they would, you know, their concerns would not be taken seriously. You get what I'm saying? But in that, I'm personally afraid. I'm afraid because I went outside to walk Elsa a week or so ago. This was the first time I smelled dead bodies here. I took her, and that was in the morning. Okay, that was in the morning. Then a couple of days later, when I got over it, because that was traumatizing, I walked her again, but this time at night. And guess what I smelled? Dead bodies. Okay? I'm not a dumb bitch. So I go to look up the health department, right? And I'm literally telling you. You know how Kennedy is like our health department person for like America? Okay. So I'm in Cape Coral, right? Cape Coral doesn't have a health department. Okay? So if I were to contact someone, you know, contact him directly, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I like to use AI because I don't like to bother people. I know they're busy. So you go on his X app. He doesn't have a Grok. So he wants you to personally at him, tweet him. Because basically these people want you to ruin your public image. They want you, if you are going to be in advocacy, to ruin your public image. And so I sit here and I think about it and I'm like, am I going to do that? Am I going to overthrow the system after 250 years? After the shit show performance that they put on yesterday for Independence Day, which I personally considered a Holocaust? Should I do that? Or should these people literally buck the fuck up and take responsibility for their actions before they have another Manor Court poltergeist situation that I had to suffer for and rectify in the same breath? You know, I had to cover for Disney when I was in prison. Do you know that? Do you know that I had to placate all of these fucking people and convince them that Disney is not literally a bastard? He is. He's a bastard. And I'm very happy to say that. I literally told that man about himself. I really did. And he was such a pussy. He wouldn't even come to my fucking face. He literally would not even come to my fucking face. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Didn't scare me. I was like, how dare you? How dare you treat the people that like literally do everything for you, who suffer for you and bleed for you and work for you? How dare you fucking treat them like this? I'm like, I will sit here for as long as it fucking takes, just like I did on that Manor fucking court. I mean, literally, do you know how uncomfortable it is to be possessed by a poltergeist? Do you know how uncomfortable that is? And I had to sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait, just like I did in the fucking prison, where they were like, no, hold on, you precious war prize, you precious real estate, you fucking wait here while we get things together. Do you think they were getting things together? These people are literally sitting here dying, bro. Literally dying, and nothing is being done about it. Like, not only that, everyone thinks Matt Doherty is canceled. Okay, that's how you treat Disney privilege. You treat it like that, when it's so funny that he was like this, willing to be on the morning opener of your 250th celebratory birthday fucking anniversary for your country. What a disgrace. These people literally are willing to do anything for you, and you will blacklist them like that. Like that. How embarrassing as a country. Sincerely. I mean, it's just, what do you do? Literally, what do you do? And if that didn't convince me enough that this is a shit show, then I don't know what will. I mean, I really hope that America takes a good hard look at itself and it thinks that, you know, this is what we want. You know it's bad when Elon Musk is suing Disney. Okay? Like, how bad does the government in America, and very specifically does Disney, have to get for the richest person in the world to sue you? I'm just saying. I mean, I don't smell dead bodies for no reason. And you'll Google it. You'll be like, why do I smell dead bodies? And Disney will try to cover it up. The American government will try to cover it up. Google will try to cover it up and be like, oh, that is just literally, it's the soil. It's the soil in Florida. No. I know what dead bodies smell like. Okay? So they're going to have to do something about it. I mean, this is literally heinous. Heinous. So I'll wait. I'll wait. And also, just a little extra anecdote for you. People are being poisoned. Poisoned. Like, literally at Disney World. They showcase this brand new ride at Disney. And they were like, oh, it's the Little Mermaid ride. And I'm like, I'm not flattered. Okay, I'm not flattered. Not when people are being poisoned here. You know what I mean? It's just the flattery kind of flies out the fucking window when you're poisoning people, but that's just me. So, anyway, I've been having a great time. I really have. I've been having an excellent time. Like, I'm over it. And then Isaac came over a couple of days ago, right? It's been a long time since I've seen Isaac. And so I'm like, babe, you know, do you remember this at all? And he had no recollection. He had no recollection of, like, even the ring, let alone proposing to me, the fact that I was his fiance. Nothing. And I'm here to tell you this right now. When people are sick, okay, they forget things. Sorry, that's Elsa's pub cup behind me. Anyway, they forget really important things. They forget really important milestones. And to me, that was very alarming. It was very disconcerting that the man who proposed to me in February on Valentine's Day has no recollection whatsoever that it ever even occurred. So I'm going to get really candid with you for a moment. Isaac and I got engaged on Valentine's Day of this year. It was the first time I have ever been engaged in my entire life. Isaac, the moment he met me, he wanted to get married right away. He wanted to have kids right away. He wanted to move incredibly fast. I wasn't ready for that. I want to be courted. I grew up a very Christian, very Catholic. Like, I wanted things to be done a certain kind of way. He's not like that. Isaac, within months of us getting engaged, he cheated on me. He cheated on me with a woman who lived here in the Springs, who has a daughter. And I literally caught him on candy camera. I have the evidence in my phone, and he denied it up and down. And so me personally, the fact that Isaac and I agreed that in the beginning of April, we would probably go through the procession of getting married. Obviously, I like to do things the right way. So I was like, I would like to go through the courthouse, her fucking pup cup, I swear to God. I would like to go through the courthouse. I would like to get the appropriate documentation. He told me when we met that he was divorced from his ex-wife, Holly, right? He couldn't remember his divorce date. I'm like, buddy, if you want to get married to me, if you are so desperate to get in my panties and to get married to me and to procreate with me and build a life with me and buy a house with me, he was shipping all of these houses to me. Like, and he wanted to move state so fucking bad. Oh my God. He was like, I don't want to live in Florida anymore. I want to live somewhere else. And I was like, too fucking bad. I'm not going with you. And at one point in time, I almost did. But I have big goals for myself. I have big dreams for myself. And not only that, I came from a lot of money. Okay. So anyway, neither here nor there. Well, when he could not cougher up the divorce date, that he definitely should have with Holly, okay? He told me Holly is remarried, that she lives in Arizona. She lives in Arizona with his 2 kids and all of this. So I'm like, when you can offer up a divorce date, I will marry you. Because the fact that you cannot even do that and we are already engaged was so frightening to me that I cannot even begin to explain it. Anyway, eventually, he said that he would do a Zoom call with the appropriate entities at the courthouse. Okay? Like, we were in the middle of a fucking pandemic when we definitely are not. Never happened. Literally never happened. He has a computer. He has an iPhone. He would have been able to do that. You get what I'm saying? So I settled with him. I didn't settle with him in a court of law. I settled with him verbally. I was like, look, it is never going to work out for us. We are never going to get married on paper because you, quite frankly, you cannot handle that. So I was like, I will do this. I'm an artist. I deal with tech. I deal with AI. I was like, I love AI. I'm going to do an AI marriage for us. That's where I settled. Because I was like, honestly, that's what you deserve. You don't deserve a real marriage from me. I bought a wedding dress. And this place is so non-secure that someone stole it from me. Someone stole my wedding dress and I had to buy another one. And then when I bought another one, by that fucking point in time, and I'm not going to get into too much detail, I could not fit into it. I recently gave it away to Goodwill and I'm glad. It has never been worn. It has been tried on once, okay? Oh my God. I'm so done. If y'all can see me. This was the ring that Isaac proposed with, okay? My ring. I gave this ring to Isaac to propose to me with. Hear me out, because I showed you the one that he gave me, right? That he cannot even recognize. God, how do I say it? I think Isaac is like, I think he needs help. When I first met him, he was living in the homeless encampment across the street, and he hopped over the fence. Okay, just for context. He jumped over that fence like he was getting ready to kill me because I was smoking a cigarette. Anyway, neither here nor there. This is the other ring that I bought myself before I ever even knew who the fuck Isaac was. This is the ring that he is coming at my fucking neck for. My fucking neck for. Do you understand me? This man is an opportunistic abuser. He comes from a long line of abusers because his dad, Greg, was making fun of me after he openly cheated on me in our engagement. He thought it was so funny that Isaac cheated on me with Ashley. And then his brother, who lives in the apartment with him, who I am so certain also came from the homeless encampment, was also making fun of me about it. To my face. When Isaac was with me, he couldn't even afford cigarettes. He swore that he had so much money, and he flexed my dad's ring, okay? So that is my dad's ruby that I just showed you. Isaac likes to wear my dad's ruby, my big ruby. I personally think my dad gave it to him as some sort of pawn piece to try to like win me over because my dad doesn't want me to be single. I don't know, maybe my dad doesn't want me to die alone. I have no fucking idea, but he literally had to like bum off of everyone in our relationship. Everyone. His parents, his brother, his roommate, his friends, for everything. For his drugs, for his alcohol, for his cigarettes, for his gambling addiction, everything. Okay? He did not love these people, and I'm so sorry, I have to say this. They did not love him back. They did not respect him. They did not garner him. They did not care about Isaac because Isaac does not care about them or anyone. Isaac threatened me and our relationship with this. Okay, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. With this. I don't know what the fuck problem he had with this, my Stanley Cup, but he had a major problem with it, apparently. He literally tried to hurt me with this, okay? And I know that sounds so fucking pathetic, but like literally this is heavy. It is a Stanley Cup. This is a weapon. It is considered a weapon, okay? And he tried to hurt me with it. Isaac flooded his apartment on purpose to get me to come back into his life. I'm at my wit's end. Isaac was misogynistic toward his sister. He was ableist toward his roommate, and he was trying to usurp everything from his older brother, okay? Everything. Then my crazy ass ex, William, who I really don't care to talk about, hit me up one day and was like, hey, did you know that you're on the government watch list? And I was like, okay. So I did a background check on myself, right? And basically it was like neither here nor there. I was just like, okay, William, whatever. So I was like, while I have this membership, I'm going to look up Isaac. I did. And Isaac has so many fucking warrants in Wisconsin that it would make your head spin. Then we went to the pool some odd time later, and he was openly discussing these warrants on camera with people, bragging about them. So then, I'm bringing this up to him. I'm like, okay, so your roommate is driving a car with no valid license plate, no valid registration, no valid insurance, and he's talking his way out of it. And then he's talking to people who live in here about insurance fraud, about how he commits insurance fraud and how that's how he came up in the world and how that's how he makes all of his money. It was weird, okay? And I'm like, like when he's talking to people, I'm like, oh, don't say that, you know what I mean? And he swore, he was like, and I'm like, there is no way. There is no way that these people have shipped me with such an imbecile. I mean, he was incriminating the fuck out of himself to these people. And then in that, and this, women, is why you have to be careful, I'm having to look out for all of the people that he's trying to give this good advice to. I'm telling you, I would do nice things, you know, like, these people were not necessarily in a good way, if you couldn't tell from the first couple of Instagram stories that I have posted. And I'm sorry if you can, you know, see my under boob or whatever, but I really don't care. And so I would like be using the restroom and I'm like, God, this is fucking filthy. And I would try to clean it. And he would get mad. He would get so fucking mad. I was like, okay, you could try to help them out. No, you want to know what he would do instead? He would clog their toilets. He would take the biggest shiters of all of human history and he would clog their toilets. Do you understand me? He is literally like the Beelzebub sent from the worst types of hell. You know what I mean? Anyway, so after all of this, I'm like, okay, something is shady going on. Something shady's going on with his ex-wife. So I look into her. Because I can kind of remember her from when I was younger, but not really, you know what I mean? I kind of remember Isaac from when I was younger. I kind of remember Greg, but it's like, you know, vague in my memory. Like, these are like people who are, I guess, ostensibly a part of my family, but not really. So I look into Holly Kilgren. That's what I type in. The first thing that pops up is that this woman was literally assaulted. That she was assaulted by this man in like Minnesota or something like that. And that he literally tried to kill her. That he tried to stab her. Okay? Isaac, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found for this woman when allegedly this is his first wife. You know, it's just, how do you think that you are a good man, a good husband, a good father when you are not even there for your baby mama? You get what I'm saying? It was weird. I look further into her. She has multiple felony warrants. She's a prostitute. And he elaborated about these things. So then, apparently, he thinks that she is going to be the live action Cinderella. And that made me gag. I was like, ma'am, do you really think you're capable of that? You are literally a crackhead. You are married to a crackhead. You have little crackhead babies, and that's all that he fucking talks about. What makes you think that I want to have a baby with this man? What makes you think that I want to marry this man? What makes you think that I ever did? And by the way, Holly Kilgren, you are like the worst kind of stalker that I personally have ever met in my entire life. You're a fucking weirdo. You're never going to be the live action Cinderella, and quite frankly, no one would ship it because you have to be a certain kind of media trained to be a Disney princess. And I'm going to tell you this right now, you're no Disney princess. They will AI the fuck out of you to make sure that you never become Cinderella. You know that I saw you in that prison house in uniform and I was like, ew, you know? So anyway, good luck. For real. Then Zeke was saying, and this really got me. Oh, this got me in my fucking heart space. So there is property at the end of Gordon Drive that I have talked about extensively. And if you know where Gordon Drive is, well, anywho, there is going to be $1 billion estate built there, and it is going to be over my grandmother's estate. My grandmother's estate was at the cul-de-sac end of Gordon Drive in Naples, Florida, and Isaac thought that he was going to build it himself and that he was going to turn it into some Cinderella's Castle Playboy mansion for Holly Kilgren. For Holly Kilgren. Do you know how full fucking scent that made me? Do you know how long I have been working on the chateau alone? He sincerely thought that he was going to assert my grandmother's estate away from me. So, I am in Isaac's bedroom, and Isaac has 2 pictures on his wall. Okay, one of Charlotte, one of Army. He said Charlotte was his daughter. Well, I go on YouTube the other day, and he claims that his daughter is 14 and that her name is Charlotte. This girl was on YouTube, and I don't remember her name exactly, but I subscribed to her. She looks to be about maybe 16, 17. And when I'm telling you, she looked nothing like Holly Kilgren. Nothing. I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're using filters to try to look like me. I don't want to know what it is, but I am sickened. Then his parents, they are renovating their house, right? Good for them. Love that for them. Isaac has me come over to help with this. I did all of the work. All of the work. On top of that, Isaac tried to fight the flood that he set in his own apartment with a humidifier. With a, you heard me right, humidifier. Then he came over a couple of days later after I'm like phoning him. I'm like, buddy, doesn't make sense. I mean, if anything, a dehumidifier, but even that, a little extra legwork. He comes over and says, wait, no, I got dehumidifiers. I remember one time when Isaac got his power shut off because he could not pay his electric bill, because he could not hold a consistent job, not even at Chili's. It was like, first they turn the air off because it's kind of what they'll do. And it was like scalding hot in his apartment. So I'm opening up the windows because I'm like, I'm hot. I don't know about you all, but me personally, I'm fucking sweating. And all of the people in his party were like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm like, can we get the air conditioning turned back on? Could we get the lights turned back on? Could we literally get the power turned back on? Then it happened again. And he had to move all of his things into my fridge. I had to do his laundry over here when he had black mold. When he had black mold, which means that the black mold from his apartment carried over to my apartment. He and his two roommates were filthy. They were fucking filthy. I'm gonna tell you this. Their fridge was so clusterfuck disorganized. And I had to do the dishes all of the time. I had to clean everything, including the communal bathroom that I never used. I'm going to say I used it maybe 2 times. Maybe. I would use bleach because his apartment had black mold. From the moment that I went in there to the moment that I left, his apartment had horrific black mold. My apartment does not have black mold. I would love to clarify. So I'm using bleach, and immediately the 3 of them are piping up and complaining that I'm using too much bleach. I was like, then clean it yourself. So anyway, I told Isaac, I said, look, if you did not intentionally flood your apartment, which I know that he did, I said, you know that the number one cause of floods, particularly in apartments, they come from the water heater tank. And it's generally not your fault. It is the fault of the upstairs neighbor. You want to know what he did? I was like, Isaac, that makes it particularly disturbing that you flooded it. I said, either on purpose or because of your incompetence. You decide which one that was. I have been a mess. A mess. This man had the sheer audacity to assert that I had a penis. I am going to show him that I have one. Oh, I'm going to show him that I have one. And his parents tried to take me into RJ's. You know RJ's in North Fort Myers, the little pool hall where you can play darts and sing karaoke? Okay, my dad is a long-time regular of RJ's, by the way. These people try to bring me in there to exploit me of my capacity to sing, to play darts, to play pool, to hustle. It was so cute. The people of RJ's, they do not like them. I'm going to tell you this right now. The people of RJ's are quite frankly sick and tired of the Kilgrins. Okay. And I'm going to say this as well. Your son is actually thinking about living in your guest room, but you already promised it to Katie Siemens, you know? So I don't really know where you're going to fit your squatters and your froggers, but good luck. Then his final tort was that he was going to one-up me like crazy, because remember how I apparently needed a job. He started working at Mellow Mushroom. He was literally texting me, being like, I'm making bank at Mellow Mushroom. I'm making a couple $100. I'm making a couple $1,000. I don't fucking care, because he never even got that far. And then he was trying to use pizza as a wager. Pizza. My papa is so sick of this man. He literally was like, Rose, this man will get off the ship. He will get off of the boat, and he will literally burn himself alive in the kiln in ways that he probably wishes that he could be cremated. This man, I'm going to tell you this right now, Praying for Sleep doesn't want him. Praying for Sleep literally was like, wait, what? And I was like, it has to do with the flower pots, okay? You know, the flower pots of Normandy were a gift. They were a gift. I'll wait. So anyway, the fact that Isaac thinks that he would ever be employed by me, or anyone for that matter, when he very willingly, elected to quit Chili's, evidently, is funny. It is the fact that he had the audacity to take me there for my 31st birthday for me, but whatever. Anyhow. Then, the pool incident. So Isaac and I went to the pool. Okay. When I would go to the pool and I would want Isaac to be there, he would never really animate. I would call, I would text. It would be really frustrating. There would be so many people there like, where's Isaac? You know what I mean? So we went to the pool one day, and of course he bombards me with his whole party of people who are people that I quite frankly do not give a flying fuck about. And he is just relishing in the moment, quite frankly, that he has just bombarded me with this posse of pussies. And he has the sheer audacity to try to steal my phone. His sister has the sheer audacity to even imply that she would fight me. And I'm going to tell you this right now. It did not go over well for the posse of pussies that belong to Isaac Kilgren. Then they did the sync test on me. Do you know what the sync test is? The sync test is what they used to utilize back in the day to discern witch from pure girl. You know what I mean? From a woman who is evidently encompassed by the devil and a woman who isn't. But the gig is that if you are not in the throes of it with the devil, your fate is that you sink and you drown. Okay? So anywho, I did not know that this study was being conducted on me, because there are so many studies conducted at me at pools, and I just think that it is so funny. But anywho, they were not even focused on the fact that I was floating. They were focused on the fact that my boobs were above water. Okay, my boobs are real, and I can sink to the bottom of the pool, but I tend to do it, I only do it when people are not there. Then Isaac was trying to assert that he is like some sort of Navy SEAL. Okay, so I raced him a couple of times, and I won. In front of his face, in front of the candy cameras, in front of all of the people. A couple of different times. Then one time, Isaac literally knocked himself unconscious. Okay. On accident. You do with that what you will. But I'm going to have to tell you this right now. If that man ever asks me, are you the Little Mermaid? Were you a Navy SEAL? Fuck, if he ever asks me anything, if he even so much as speaks to me outside of a divorce court because, oh, to me, AI marriage is unendingly real. Do you know how real AI marriage is to me? It's real. Then there's the Bimini Square situation. Do not even get me started on the Bimini Square situation. Isaac thought that he was going to get a free pass to the next Love Island of it all through me to Bimini Square. I was like, buddy, I do not know how to tell you this, but I know that you were watching me when I was on Manor Court, when I was possessed by a poltergeist, and when, the place was a horrific Disney shit show. So I was like, what makes you think that you deserve Bimini Square? What makes you think that you even so much as qualify for Bimini Square? Did you help make Bimini Square? And if you didn't, which I know that you absolutely the fuck did not, I would reference Elon Musk, that the world belongs to those who make, to those who do, to those who understand that a pizza, making pizza is not a creation, as Isaac would call it. It is an art. Life is art, Isaac. Life imitates art. Shit, art even imitates life, motherfucker. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you talk to me ever again, and sincerely, about Domino's, Mellow Mushroom, any of it. He was even shipping IHOP to me. He was even shipping IHOP as a profession to me. I thought that was so fucking funny. You know, Isaac is a cuck. You know, I used to call him Henzekiel because I felt so bad for him. I just went to crack an egg open the other morning because I like to get my protein in. And you want to know what it tasted like? It tasted like the nasty, moldy, mildewy, dingy fucking apartment that he lives in. Oh well. I was like, if you cannot even handle, because he used to work at IHOP with Holly, by the way. I was like, if you cannot handle IHOP, Mellow Mushroom, Domino's, if you cannot even handle the Love Island of the Springs of it all, what makes you think that you can handle Bimini Square, Love Island, buddy? You can't. I'm going to tell you this right now. You were not pre-qualified for a condo at Bimini Square. I was. I've already bought the whole bitch. I own the whole bitch. Bimini Square, it's mine. The Cove, mine. The new Westin that's going to be in there, mine. Can you believe that? Can you believe that, Isaac? That it's all mine. That Normandy is mine. And by the way, I'm going to destroy your fucking flower pots on camera. I'm going to take so much pleasure in it, you jackass. And I'm going to tell you this right now. The horror genre, it will exist without you. He had the audacity to show me The Binge. You know The Binge on Hulu? You know that movie that came out years and years and years and years ago? That is unendingly non-pertinent to Praying for Sleep, to Disney, to anything. You know, the movie where I am an extra and I show my titties for an extra 3 seconds and I literally clean house. He showed me that. I was like, buddy, do you know who Pinwheel is? I was like, you literally have fucked with the wrong person, Isaac. And I'm going to tell you this right now. You will never fuck with me again. So anyway, I'm going to sit here while Isaac literally bumfucks around and gets lost, because he does that a lot. In fact, I had to check his Mama Paula on that. I was like, Mama Paula, why am I having to keep track of your kids? You know, it was weird. Isaac, for all we fucking knew, was literally dead in a fucking ditch somewhere. But who fucking cares? Literally, who fucking cares about Isaac? Who fucking cares about his company? Who fucking cares about anything that he has to do? He's a stalker. He was literally standing at my fucking window the other night, masturbating to me. I'm sleeping on the far end of my bed, as far away as humanly possible that I can get from Isaac. You understand me? And he's still standing at my window, masturbating. And you want to know why I woke up? Because that edema motherfucker coughed. And then he skedaddled. So I went out. Elsa, come here. Okay, so I'm doing a haul. First thing, I went to the Dollar Tree, okay, and I got Irish Spring soap, like, love it, and toenail clippers. I'm just saying, I needed it desperately. Dollar Tree. Easy. Then I went. She's sniffing the bag. That is so funny. Sometimes she gets possessed by poltergeist. Don't listen to her. We're working on it, you know. Now this is what I am most excited for. I have not been to Sally's Beauty Supply in ages. And I prefer to get my hair care from there. I don't know about anyone else, but I was sending my dad out and I was like, Daddy, you know, I need a really specific hair dye. I've been using Splat hair dye for a while now, okay? Anyway, but he couldn't find it. Like, literally, he was going into Walmart, he was going into Publix, he was going, and like, even Isaac's sister, she suggested Aldi's. I didn't even know they had hair care there, but my dad could not find it. My dad literally, for the life of him, could not find the Splat hair dye, and I'm at the very bare minimum of my semi-permanent hair dye, and I literally like transition the two. So, and you can see that my roots are like clearly just growing in, and I literally just dyed my hair last night, and it's like, it doesn't look bad, but it's just, I have got to do something about my roots, quite frankly. So this is where we're at. So this is my haul from Sally Beauty Supply. Okay, very bougie, very Southwest Florida lore, very Cape Coral lore. So I'm going to show you what I got. Okay, first things first, I got semi-permanent hair dye, Overtone, in the color Scarlet Red. It's going to go off. Okay, then, hold on. Okay, I know this seems crazy, but it's going to go off like crazy. It's going to lighten my hair because I have really, really dark roots. It is. Okay, so this is Light Intense Auburn by Ion. I don't know if you can see it right here, but I'm so excited. And it's like, the box, you can tell, was returned, which is like crazy to me, but I'm so excited. I'm like, this is gonna lighten me up and color me up, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. And then Daddy, he's so peculiar. He got a measuring beaker. And you want to know what's so crazy too? Literally, this should be worth a lot of money. I'm just saying. Like, to dye your hair, like, even professionally, it costs a lot of money. All of that total, not including the Dollar Tree, obviously, $29. $29. You know how inexpensive that is? Literally, oh my God, I'm telling you, buying hair care products, it is like ridiculously expensive. And like, I get that you can buy hair care products on Temu and stuff like that, but this quality you cannot buy on Temu. You know what I mean? But this is so cheap. It would be hundreds of dollars. So I have to follow up with this because this was crazy. Okay, so we're driving into Cape Coral, right? And like, you know the Backrooms movie? God, I'm gonna have to do like a deep dive of my trip because I never go out. Hold on, let me get my setup again. I never go out, so I forgot about this. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so Backrooms is all about like degenerative neurological condition, right? Basically, ostensibly, at the end of the day, whatever you make of it. So we go into Cape Coral, which is like, I mean, I'm from, you get what I'm saying? Anyway, and like, everything is switched around. And I'm like, and literally, sincerely, it is, like, in my mind, And for my dad, it's different. For me, it's swapped on the correct side of the road. Like, the names are swapped, the locations are swapped, but at least they're on the right side of the correct side of the road. You get what I'm saying? For my dad, when he misremembers it on the wrong side of the road. Could you imagine? But my dad is different than me. Like, I don't know. Like, at least he remembers it the right way. It's just in the wrong spot. For me, it's in the wrong spot and I don't remember it the right way. Like, it doesn't have the right name, nothing like that, you know? Anyhow, so we figure it out and I got rid of my old vape, right? So remember, well, I guess I wasn't talking to you all about quantum immortality. Hold on. I've got a key for you. I really do. Hold on. Okay, so we're backtracking a little bit, but just follow me here. Okay, so obviously, you know, I'm a felon. I'm on felony state probation. I'm like the #1 person on the FBI's watch list, whatever. Okay, so my appointment for this month, it is on, I haven't had it yet. It's on July 9th, right? At 10:45 a.m. I remember when I wrote it. My PO remembers when I wrote it. We both remember when I wrote it. And I like literally said this to him. I'm like, this is literally a freaking quantum entanglement moment, you know? But for me, it's quantum immortality because this never happens to me. It's very rare. And then I looked up on Google, like how much, like if you have proof, if you have evidence of quantum immortality, like how much would it be worth? And it said priceless at first, which I agree, but it said upwards of like $10 billion or something like that. And I was like, bitch, I think this would be like trillions of dollars. If you could prove quantum immortality, bruh, the physics community would agree with me. It is priceless. And I said that initially, but big bank take little bank, you know? But anyway, I heavily believe in time travel. #1. I mean, that's physics. It's okay. #2, I believe in quantum immortality like a motherfucker. I believe in magic. I believe in the dark arts. I mean, I don't think that's strange to anyone. Anyhow. But Nikola Tesla was like literally time traveler lore, you know what I mean? He was found in his hotel room, and when they found his dead body, they burned all of his evidence, all of his empirical evidence of time travel, which was, I mean, it was more than circumstantial. So anyway, but I don't believe that he really died. They said that he died in the hotel room. I really genuinely do believe that he just quantum leaped. I believe that he achieved quantum immortality. That's just me. I've said this before. People think I'm crazy, but I know that I'm not. Anyway, this is my Nikola Tesla quantum jump. You get what I'm saying? Does anyone, you know? Anyway. So you heard me right. My appointment was for July 9th at 10:45 a.m. I wrote it in the little book. I wrote it on my little piece of paper that would, you know, be on this piece of paper. Guess what the fuck this said when I went out to check it? Remember, July 9th, 2026, 10:45 a.m. That was my appointment date. I wrote it 7/9/26, 10:45 a.m. I don't know if you can see it because it's backwards, but you can clearly see that it says July 2nd of 2026 at 10:30 a.m. That's not what I wrote. And he verified it because I was going to tell him, I was like, you know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm clipping out. You know, maybe I do have dementia. But he literally confirmed it with his personal number, which is on here. You can see that. He said, no, you did not miss your appointment date. I was like, I know, because like, but what? So I've been watching a lot of TikToks lately about quantum immortality, okay? Because like I was really into quantum entanglement and all of that. I thought it was really beautiful. But I was like, bruh, quantum immortality, and there is so much evidence on the internet of it, but no one has tangible evidence. You get what I'm saying? Like no one actually has anything that, and I've Googled it, like literally, I'm like, show me any tangible evidence. But when people say like, you know, this is priceless, it literally is. Like people would not put it up on the internet and be like, hey, you know, I think this is worth a lot. Because this is modern evidence, tangible evidence of quantum immortality. It is worth so much money, and I swear to God, I would split it with my PO. I would. But I don't think, this is me, I don't think it's worth $10 billion. I think it's worth trillions of dollars, okay? But anyway, the way that we can verify that this is quantum immortality is that it was closed. I mean, he knows that the office was closed. I know that the office was closed. Everyone knows that the office was closed. And the reason that it's closed is because obviously for the Independence Day, 4th of July, 250th anniversary birthday of America, I mean, everyone ought to know that. But anyhow, we're taking an extended weekend, and then obviously you observe the day prior, and then government buildings, they generally do not operate the day before observation. You get what I'm saying? So, for whatever that's worth to you. But anyhow, so it's just, I mean, he and I know this, and I would imagine that everyone that works for the government knows this, even though, anyway, it's neither here nor there. Obviously, I understand. I am very empathetic toward people who, have been laid off because of Project 2025. I know a lot of government workers have been laid off because of that. So, I mean, I feel your plight. You just have to keep pushing on, and you don't let them tell you that. You know what I mean? So anyway, what makes this story particularly interesting? Okay, so what makes this story particularly interesting is that the office was not open. We all knew the office wasn't open. I signed the book how I signed it. I wrote my little, information on the piece of paper. He saw this, corroborated it. And yet here I have this piece of quantum evidence. It's very strange because I look at it and I'm like, I guess it's my handwriting. I don't know. I really don't identify with it. But I remember exactly how I wrote it. You know what I mean? And I didn't write this. So that's what's really strange. And not only that, he didn't see me write it. He saw me write 26, not 2026. You get what I'm saying? Very strange. Very weird. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was so funny. But anyway, I didn't show up on July 2nd, which if anything proves and corroborates my story that it would be quantum immortality, because why, if I really wrote this, don't you think that I would have shown up? You know what I mean? Where was I? Oh, so anyway, so it's kind of bizarre, right? Well, it wouldn't have mattered if I had shown up anyway because it was closed. It was a government building. It was closed. It was like a part of the 5-day. It's not really 5-day. Like they ceased, normal business hours operations on the 2nd, and then they're going to resume them after the 5th. So on the 6th. And this has been known forever. But anyway, so that's just what makes it so strange. It's like, why would a cognizant person write this? And why would their PO, who is likewise cognizant in a very cognizant government, it's just like, this is not possible that this could exist. So I find it completely peculiar. But the funny thing about Nikola Tesla is that but the thing about Nikola Tesla that is very intriguing is that he was really good at this. He would often do this where he would hold up a piece of paper and he would basically do parapsychology, and he would try to basically, he would just theorize and philosophize about the piece of paper, and he would just do sleight of hand tricks, you know what I mean? And that was really like a huge basis to his magic. I mean, he literally was a very magical human being. So anyway, I would assert that I have leveled up to the ranks of the Nikola Tesla of it all, and I am so just unperturbed by that, you know what I mean? But anyway, it's neither here nor there. I'm excited to show up to my appointment on the 9th. I have been excited to show up to my appointment on the 9th. I loved Independence Day. It's just me, though. But it was a Holocaust of sorts, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know how to explain it, But anyway, everything in life kind of is. But let me talk about my trip down into Cape Coral. It is down into the parts of Cape Coral that I have not been to in a long, long time. So as I said, I bought this vape, right? And in that, I had to throw away my former vape. And this spun people's fucking heads because it was like quantum immortality, like a motherfucker. So anyway, I go to throw away my former vape, right? And these people were pissed about it. They were like, you don't do that. And I was like, what, are you from Europe or something? Because in Europe, you do not throw away vapes in a trash can. They have like dispensers, you know what I mean? The appropriate bins, if you will, to put them in. But in America, fuck it. You know, you throw it away in a trash can, it doesn't matter. So, as you know, I went to the Dollar Tree on my Dollar Tree haul, and I was very adamant about getting myself some Irish Spring because I love the smell of Irish Spring, if you could not tell. Anyway, and I go to throw away my former vape, which is like dead and dirty and crusty, and it was perma-fried, if you will. So anyway, I go to throw it away, but of course there are people strategically placed in my way so that I can't throw it away. And of course they park the little transit bus right in front of it. And there's a woman standing there who I would only presume is potentially handicapped. Because you know me, right? So anyway, I clock it around her and I bank it in the bin. And then I go into the Dollar Tree. And obviously I was successful in my mission, but trust me, they were cunts in there. They were literally in the Latinx community and they were talking shit about me in Spanglish. So anyway, you know me, no necesito parlez-vous français. Anywho, we get the fuck out of there, and I have my new vape. Sorry, the sun is like super shining in the phone of it all. I have my new vape, but it's in the car, and these people don't know that, and they're like, this is the crazy fucking quantum immortality girl, whatever, because I have been talking people's ear off about this, but anyway. And they're like, this bitch threw this old vape in the bin. She's not supposed to do that. She's supposed to throw it in a fucking receptacle. I hate the word receptacle. Ugh, grody, nasty. It reminds me of the word moist. Anyway, so I get in the car, and as we're leaving, these people are like, rah, rah, rah. And I whip this bitch out, and I hit it, and they're like, and they're staring at the bin, and they're staring at me hitting this. And it was so funny. I'm telling you, I literally was pissing myself. And my dad was like skirting off, you know, because he loves to drive fast. I don't know. So anyway, this is where it gets good. So anyway, we get to Sally Beauty Supply, right? And like the Sally Beauty Supply experience was orgasmic, but as I'm leaving, there is this little cafe, and it was so cute. It was called the Petite Cafe, and I creamed my fucking panties. I'm not wearing any, but anyway, I'm telling you, I looked around and I was like, this is literally back rooms. I was like, I drove through, I didn't drive, whatever. I had a driver. Anyway, the craziest back rooms that you have ever experienced in your life to get to that very corner of it. And that's what back rooms, cave diving, any extreme sport, that's what it is. To get that little cul-de-sac nook of like perfection, of heaven. And it's sadly, it's pretty abandoned, it's pretty dilapidated, but it's like that diamond in the rough, you know, that has been perfectly preserved. You get what I'm saying? And when I was listening to this podcast last night about quantum immortality, because I was just trying to gain some understanding about it, because I truly am kind of mind fucked about it. I really don't know, you know. He used that term. He said the term perfectly preserved. He said that. When I saw that corner, that remote corner of the fucking Coralwood Mall in Cape Coral, that is like very much so my childhood, just saying, I was like, this is what he's talking about. Literally, all of the astrologists, they have been saying that for the next 3 weeks, people need to be careful because the stars are very particular right now. You know what I mean? And in that, sorry, there's like coffee on my nightstand. In that, I knew what he was talking about. He was like, you're going to have to be really careful if you are quantum leaping because you're going to have to be able to make your way back. And I was like, good for him. But I was like, that's the back rooms. You literally have to make your way through a certain kind of hell to get to a very niche part of heaven. And then once you get to it, you just have to soak it up for as long as you can, for as long as it will let you. And then you just have to prepare yourself for making your way all the way back to hell, just to go right back into the hell that you came from. Sincerely, from me. But anyway, it's not so bad. But the thing is that, you know, the heaven that you arrive to, it's never guaranteed that it's going to be there when you go back again. You get what I'm saying? And that's life. I feel like that is the peculiarity of life. Like, who is she? You know what I mean? What timeline was she on? Where did she quantum jump from? What timeline is there where, you know what I mean? It's just, I think about these things. I do. I think, I'm like, where the fuck, who is she? Like, for the astrologers that I have been consulting lately have been telling me that basically it is a tumultuous time in history. You know, America literally just achieved its birthday of 250 years. And for those of you who do not know, systems fall after 250 years. You know, the Mayans, the Aztecs, I mean, this has gone on forever. I don't know why it's after 250 years, but I'm going to tell you this right now. That's always the mark. So I personally think that's why they kind of went really big for the 250th birthday of America. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Look, I respect America. I love America. I'm very conservative in nature, if you couldn't tell, but I'm definitely a lib at heart. Neither here nor there. I'm very foreign. I am very foreign, quite frankly. And, you know, I couldn't give a flying fuck about it, if I'm being honest with you. The reasons for that being, God, I mean, I could genuinely go into them, but, you know, I will spare you the sob story and just tell you that, you know, I enjoyed it, but we are in a nation that is literally heading toward empiricism. And in that comes genocide. I'm going to tell you this right now. You know, Genghis Khan did not walk so that we could run. I mean, literally, I'm flying, motherfucker. Like, if you're going to witch hunt me, if you are going to sync test me, I'm literally going to show you what I'm worth. So, anyway, but I walked by Isaac's apartment and everything seems pretty status quo. For whatever reason, he did not want the lawn care personnel to hedge his tree out front. It's this really nice oak tree, I think. I don't know. Zeke, it is not a pine tree. Anyway. But my palm tree out front, okay? My palm tree out front is a little bit frazzled. I'm telling you, it has been neglected. It has not been pruned. It has not been rained upon in a while. They're saying that we're having a heat wave. I look at the temps and they look unendingly normal to me. I mean, everyone was acting like it was some kind of torrential end of times, you know, festivity yesterday, and it just looked unendingly okay to me. But I don't know, it looked normal as hell. I'm like, you know, people are not conditioned, if you will. Anyway, so, but I'm just like, you know, can I get a little bit of tender love and care? I mean, they literally chop up my fucking pineapple plants like it is their day job. And I'm not trying to shade them. They were my lawn care crew at my last apartment. But you remember what happened at my last apartment? I had to call the fucking WHO. I had to call the World Health Organization. And they moved me out promptly. Like, I just... expeditiously. And I appreciate them for that. I mean, the law enforcement officers who took me out of there, and the one very particularly, I'm so sorry, I do not know his name, but he took me to Park Royal right away, and they conducted a study on me. It was super confusing. And then the doctor was trying to say things about me that were untrue, but it's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to get into that again because I've talked about that on here. However, Elsa, they saved me. Okay, they saved me and they brought me here, and sadly, I have had to at the World Health Organization again on Twitter. And for anyone who knows about the World Health Organization, I mean, they are currently dealing with Ebola and hantavirus and all sorts of crazy things that we have never dealt with before in all of human history. But I'm telling them right now, what is going on in the Cape Coral Disney Springs of it all is correct out crazy. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and this was the funniest part of it all. Daddy literally had some kind of candy camera installed, okay? And I'm gonna tell you this right now. It is like on the clock, the clickety clock of it all, where literally, I don't know how Isaac's gonna do it. I really don't, because he had all different types of people coming in and out of here and in and out of here, unclocked, unchecked as hell, unvetted as a motherfucker. And I don't know, I don't think it's going to be good for them. I don't think it's going to be good for them. Because everyone is treating this place like it is Love Island. And I'm not doing that CDC tracing. I'm not doing it. So, anyway. But that's the perks of coming with a daddy who is expensive rich. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm excited to see the results, you know? I'm like, you know, who could be clickety-clocked, you know? But anyway, that's what comes with presidential privilege, because I'm going to tell you this right now. The person that Donald Trump was talking about yesterday, you know, this random communist, it's not me, obviously. I mean, if you could not fucking tell, even when I'm in the back rooms of it all, I'm going alone. I don't need an escort. But I would imagine that he probably heard my calling cries somewhere, somehow, some type of way. And he probably had that bitch installed. And he probably had Daddy install it himself. So, anyway, I would call that quantum immortality. So, with that being said, I'm really excited because Isaac has already been trying to fuck with me, to fuck with my property value. He's been twisting and turning my chairs, and he's been swapping out my plants like I never had any clue in the world that he was doing that to begin with. Meanwhile, he has a scooter on his front porch. That is a clock in and of itself. He even knows this. He's articulated it to me. You know, you keep the scooter in the garage. He has a garage, but he won't keep the scooter in the fucking garage because he likes to go on joyrides with it. And I don't know why he's literally built like that. It's just, he's literally so insane. My dad bought this beautiful brand new plant to put on our lanai, right? Well, all of a sudden, it's like fucked with. It's like someone literally pruned pieces off of it and then replaced it with other pieces of a different plant. It looks completely fucked up and weird. I don't get it. And then the grass in front of his yard is like particularly green and alkaline. And remember when Tyler tried to do this to me at my last apartment? It was so pathetic. But anyway, he's not very Martian. Well, my grass is dingy and dirty and nasty and disgusting, and people are leaving fake fucking plant leaves in it. When I first moved here, someone left a tampon in my yard. And it was really weird because last night they were outside taking like class and they were clinking it, like trying to like call me outside of the house. It was so weird. It was literally the weirdest thing ever. And like I said, he's been like super creepy lately. So I've been keeping an eye out. I mean, I've got a Ring doorbell camera. I don't know what else I can do. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's my whole life story. I mean, this is what I'm currently going through, but I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I look at this rings and I'm like, they can't even pick a color. Like, they cannot decide if they want to be gray or if they want to be blue, you know? So it's really confusing. I don't like either of those color palettes, if I'm being honest with you. But anyway. And people are saying that like they're literally making off with all of my money. I'm going to tell you this right now. I took 2 gold cards over there. Okay, to try to support his fucking habits and all of the dirty shit that he was into. I don't know, but everyone is trying to ship us back together, and I'm like, you don't understand the fact that like we're literally not together. We broke up the day that he did that at the pool, where his sister said she was gonna fucking fight me with her fugly ass, and where he was trying to steal my phone, and where he was like just so absent. He was so absent. I was like, you could literally never be a father. You could never be a husband. You're never gonna be anything. Like, I need these people to get far the fuck away from me. And I know that they will. It's only a matter of time. But anyway, when I saw him, the last time I will ever see him, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I mean, I told him to leave. So, I don't know. I'm glad, but he needs to stop. Sincerely. But evidently, he's been golfing, okay, at our golf course with Daddy's money, with William. And you know the golf course I'm talking about, the country club of it all. Collier Country Club. Yeah, they've been trying to go there, which I think is so fucking funny. Anyway, it's neither here nor there because both of them suck at golfing, if I'm being honest with you. But that's what these people are into nowadays, I guess. I mean, for William, it was the pickleball of it all, and pickleball, whatever. But I'm just going to say this right now. I feel like something good is coming for me, and I know if I just stay celibate, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Oh, I am staying so celibate that it would make your head spin. Apathetic, platonic, whatever you want to call it. Single as a Pringle, monogamous to me, myself and I. And it's working really well for me. I mean, I've got my prayer bowl, I've got my prayer towel, and now I've got my prayer soap. So, anyway. And I've never even had to use it. But I've got it there just in case, you know what I mean? But it's so funny because people still think I'm at 3400 Gordon Drive, and I'm here to tell you this right now. I mean, as much as it could look like it, I don't think that it does, but that's just me. Anyhow. So I think that's kind of funny, but I think William thinks that I want to get back with him because I bought Irish Spring soap, and I'm just like, if anything, it's a seance. Like, literally, for them to, okay, it wasn't a tampon, it was a pad, whatever. I call them the same thing because I don't use feminine products. I don't need to. But anyway, for them to do that, but it's for Daddy too. Like, one bar of soap is for me, one bar of soap is for Daddy, because William sincerely fucked us over. Like, William literally was supposed to be like taking care of me. I mean, 3400 Gordon Drive is literally Little Mermaid estate peak lore. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's neither here nor there. But Daddy and I are going to absolve ourselves of those sins because it's just, they're not even our sins to absolve. You get what I'm saying? And so anyway, at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, I don't know. It's neither here nor there, but I don't know. I don't want to go back there. You know what I mean? Oh, but I was watching this movie the other day with Johnny Depp, and I'm not necessarily sure who the actress is. She's phenomenal, though. It's called Jean Zubarre or whatever. Jean Zubarre. Anyway, okay, that's as good as I can say it. But the plot point of the entire fucking movie, and it is a good movie. It is a movie on Netflix, but it went through a lot of controversy because of the Amber Heard trial, and we know how Amber Heard made out in the Amber Heard trial. And for me, Amber Heard won. But that's just me. I love Johnny Depp, and he did a phenomenal job in this movie. He really did. The actress killed it. I mean, they did a great job. They definitely paid homage to, you know, the likeness of this amazing woman in history. I mean, sincerely. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that in the movie, basically, she comes from humble beginnings, which I cannot necessarily relate to, but she's an amazing human being, you know what I mean? She definitely like thugs her way through her lifestyle, if that makes sense. And she's very poetic in nature, you get what I mean? So anyway, ostensibly she is an art model from a really young age. She's very literate, and she goes to basically an all-girls nunnery of sorts, and that's the only way that I could explain it. Like basically a convent, but for young women at a young age, because her dad wants her to be immersed, if you will. Anyway, it serves her well because she gets kicked out of it, because, you know, she refuses to subject herself to certain kind of adulteries, and I really like that about her. But because of that, she is forced into a life of prostitution and sex work, so on and so forth, but swindling a little bit, you know, sleight of hand nature. But she's really impressive, you know? And I've tagged this in my podcast album for anyone who, like, you know, missed it, off rip or whatever. But anyway, so ostensibly, she is, you know, doing well in this kind of street life that she has been thrown into, because I don't necessarily believe that she actually came from humble beginnings, if that makes sense. But she sold it well. You know, like, it takes a certain kind of person with a certain kind of tenacity to be able to make it in the ways that she did. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that rich people have it all. I'm not saying that you cannot come from the underground and make your way back up from the back rooms or whatever the hell you attribute it to. But I'm just saying it was giving that her father knew more than what they were leading on. They said that he was a monk of sorts. I believe it based upon the way that she moved through life. But I'm going to tell you this. Monks are, and this is not to be tone deaf by what happened yesterday, but they are big money, you know, for whatever that's worth. They are very quantum immortality. Anyway. And I do believe that those monks all survived. I mean, that truck ran right into him. I don't even know if he meant to. I would imagine that he, she, whomever was driving the truck, maybe it was autonomous. I have no idea, but I know that every single last one of those monks survived. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Her dad was a monk. She makes it through literally adolescence to adulthood in a life of sex work and prostitution and makes her way into the castle of the king. The castle of the king, and she doesn't even want him. She doesn't even want him. Okay? She is trying to flee her life where she basically had a baby daddy of sorts who was kind of sort of a husband, and she had a son by him, and he was incredibly abusive to her because she was really deeply intelligent and because she was gorgeous and because she just had a lot going for her, you know? And he tried to drown her. You know, he tried to drown a monk's daughter, which is insane work, in my opinion. But he didn't care. He thought she was a harlot and a whore and a prostitute. Anyway, neither here nor there. But he wasn't successful in drowning her. But I'm going to tell you this right now. She was reading in the bathtub and he drowned her. Like, you know, he like abusively drowned her. He did not like literally drown her, but he like dunked her. Anyway, and she got her book all wet. I felt so fucking bad for her. But if it were me, oh my God, because she was like literally doing the most creamy kind of milk bath that you have ever seen in your entire life, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, she had a beautiful white cloth drenched around her, and I'm telling you, not with me. I would have used that as a weapon on sight. That man would have been dead. They would have came for me. Quite frankly, they would have sank test me or dunked me or God knows what, but I would not have stood for that. But anyway, she decides, and obviously she has a support structure around her that supports her in leaving him for the king. But this cheap bastard, the one who tried to drown her, he's the father of her son. You get what I'm saying? It's just, and it's like, I guess she was technically married to him, but she kind of wasn't. It was like, it was more she felt indebted to marry him because she gave him a son, if that makes sense. Anyway, neither here nor there. He's trying to get in on it. He's basically trying to be like, you know, steal the ring. And there's no ring to steal. Like, his ruby is worn as an ornament, you know? I mean, someone would have to be rather quick in their sleight of hand, finesse, whatever, to be able to, you know, usurp that from him, if you get what I'm saying. Like, you would have to be really quick. And also, it's just her heart is not in that space. She genuinely loves this man. Like, she is genuinely so in love with this king, and it is so reciprocated that it would make your fucking head spin. It is it. Like, literally brought me to tears. Very few times in cinema am I brought to tears, you know? Titanic did that for me. So, Titanic. I have got to antiquate my feelings about Titanic. I saw Titanic when I was really young, and I was like obsessed. Okay, I have been to the Titanic Museum. I've spoken about this at length, how when you go in there, you can like literally hear the screams and the cries of the people who were jumping off ship. And then there are a lot of theories about the Olympia and the Carpathia and the Titanic and all of this. Anyway, I genuinely believe that Rose Dawson was a real human being. I genuinely believe that it is well documented. I genuinely believe that she survived. I genuinely believe that Jack didn't. I genuinely believe that she was betrothed to a man who just did not love nor appreciate her, and that was really unsettling for her, because that was like, you know, she was supposed to be his war prize, you get what I'm saying? And he did not treat her like one at all. And I feel like she got her lick back in loving the man who actually loved her and saved her, you get what I'm saying? Neither here nor there. But anyway, I have to add this little bit of context too, because I will get back to the phenomenal movie with Johnny Depp in it. Anyway, so when you go over the water of the Titanic, and they have sent, you know, technological anthropological excavators down there, and I feel so bad about the mission, but I mean, that's the lore. Anyway, when you go over the waters where the Titanic sank, you can literally hear them screaming, going doo, like into the water. I'm not kidding you. It's like 9/11. It's like if you go around there, it's just, there's a certain frequency and resonance that is super fucked up. And it can be picked up on devices. It's like, it's super crazy. Anyway, so I'm obsessed with Titanic, right? Made me cry, sent me into a fucking tizzy, even as a little girl, right? I'm not the only one. A lot of people love the movie Titanic. Elsa, stop. I could not speak any more highly of Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. Anyway, I was watching, and this is just a little bit of extra context, The Long Walk with Zeke when we first got together. Obviously, I'm not with him. I will never be with him ever again. But when we watched that movie, I mean, it is based in Stephen King lore, which is like, you know how I am about Stephen King. Anyway, we were bawling. Like, audibly bawling. His roommate, bawling. Anyway, amazing movie. Like I said, few films, few pieces of cinema can bring me to that point. It would have to be really, really good. So, needless to say, Jean Ducœur literally was so good. When she meets the king, he falls in love with her immediately, and she's very strategic. She knows all of the entities and the proxies that are pulling on her to accomplish their goal, which at the end of the day is gluttony. It is, what is the word? Oh, greed. It's greed and gluttony. It was super fucked up, but anyway, before she met the king, they had to perform like an exam on her, and basically she's really good. She's very like slapstick. She's the kind of woman who knows what to say. You know what I mean? She's the kind of person who's been through a lot in her life, quite frankly. You could tell it wasn't the first time. Okay. But you could tell it wasn't her first time. Like, it's just, you could tell that, oh God, how do I say it? So she had a lot of liaisons in her life. She had a lot of mentors, a lot of teachers, and, it's like, she had this kind of rapport with men that wasn't necessarily sticky, but it was definitely a kind of nuanced love language of hers to want to be around men who were potentially as intelligent as she was. She wasn't really a floozy, but anyway, when this exam happened, it was post-rape, which is super fucked up. Basically, the man who implored her to get with the king, he was in his dotage. Anyway, she was not expecting it, neither here nor there. She would have not gotten to the king if it were not for that experience. I'm sure living a life of sex work and prostitution and abuse and so on and so forth, you would have to become monk-like in a certain capacity, and she probably just let it roll off of her back like water, quite frankly. Anyhow, I'm certain that the king got wind of this, and he did not necessarily treat that man very amicably going forward. But he, again, was one of the suitors who was trying to vie for the king's money through Jean Ducœur. When he courts her, it is the most beautiful thing that I have ever seen. I am a huge fan of aristocracy cinema and the lore, the history behind all of that. I'm very well studied in it because I have the privilege to be, but I have fought for it. So. How do I explain it? You would literally have to see the movie, and I'm not trying to give away too many spoilers. But, the king's court is not necessarily on her side because 1, the king is married. 2, the king has daughters. 3, the king is like, just, his face is on the coin. You get what I'm saying? So it's just, they have a lot to lose if they lose him. You get what I'm saying? And it's just, it's, oh God, I mean, it's definitely unorthodox. You get what I mean by that? So they're kind of just trying to weigh the situation, but that is definitely a spiritual exchange. You know what I mean? That's how you make your way through the back rooms, is you kind of have to wager certain things and move a certain kind of way, and you have to kind of, you know, keep your wits about you. I don't know. But the rule of the king is that you never turn his back to him. And it's like, there are so many rules with kings. Like, first of all, you always save the king. Second of all, you never turn your back to the king, and so on and so forth. In my mind, I'm the king. No one ever turns their back to me. And quite frankly, I do not want anyone to fucking save me. I will save my fucking self. And that is a lot like how she thought. Anyway, neither here nor there. Because at the end of the day, she knew she was not the king. She knew that this man was the king. And she literally told him off rip. But he was testing her. There are always tests in life. And that's kind of what I mean by, you know, moving a certain kind of way, strategically placing yourself, and just, you know, doing what feels right to you. Because at the end of the day, what works, works, and what doesn't, doesn't. So anyway, they bring her into his chamber because he's been isolating a bit. And not because his wife is dead. His wife is very much so still alive, but their relationship is tumultuous at that point at best. So, as a king always does, he loved to play chess. And basically, in the royal court, you have to move a certain kind of way. You know, you have to take so many steps forwards and back and all the way around. Anyhow. And his courtesan, you know, his right-hand man, I guess you could say. I mean, there's a particular phrase for him, but I don't quite remember what the hell it is. He tells her, he's like, you know, you have to go about things a certain kind of way. And she's basically like, no, I don't. But she keeps it in mind. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm literally telling you to, like, you know, like, to and fro. And it's just, it's so fucking funny. But anyway, so she gets in there. And he's basically like, you know, what are you going to go for first? Are you going to go for the champagne, or are you going to go for the chocolate covered strawberries? And I'm telling you, this woman is so bourgeois. She literally is always stuffing her mouth full of food, to the point that the men in her life are constantly commenting about it. So, as expected, she goes for the chocolate covered strawberries. I don't know why. I would have gone for the champagne. My daddy was like, you know, Rose would elect to be poisoned before she would ever fucking eat anything, but whatever. And that is very well documented. Neither here nor there. Because I am a carnivorous bastard, like, sincerely. Like, when I do eat, I'm like, I'm not trying to make it look bougie. I'm not really eating because I'm hungry. I'm like ravenous at all times. But anyway, she goes for the chocolate covered strawberries. And he's like, that is my pick-me poison. I don't know why, but he wanted her to go for the chocolate covered strawberries. And he has, and I'm going to say this, like I said, there was a coin and it had his face on it and it was gold. And she saw it and she was like, I'm going to go for that. He had a statue in his little king's quarters, excuse me, in his chamber. And I'm telling you, solid gold. And it was of him as a child. When she was little, she was, how do I say this? She was disabled, okay? You can imagine why. Whatever. So she became very good at picking up on cues that only people in certain communities can pick up on. And you would never do this. You would never do this. You would never go into a king's castle and touch anything. I really highly recommend that y'all don't touch anything. You know, I'm very Tibetan Buddhist like that, where I would love to leave the earth untouched, but, you know, God willing. Anyway, and she puts her hands on the statue and it's a dimly lit room. I mean, it was dark. He was withdrawn. You know what I mean? He was trying to come back to life. You know what I mean? And this woman brought him back to life. I'm telling you. When she did that, he could pick up on things, right? That potentially at some juncture in her life, she was blind. And like I said, the room was a little bit dark. And she was like, basically she told him something that she could never know, that it was a statue of him as a child. And she says this, and he is dumbfounded as hell. He's like, how did she pick my poison? You know, he did not want the woman who was a floozy, who was a sex worker on the street, who would go for the champagne. He wanted the woman who would very seductively just like break bread with him, even though it was a strawberry. You get what I'm saying? And the fact that she knew, because she was so well read, because she was so adept, because she was so in tune via clairvoyance, or, you know, just by the love language I was telling you about, it really threw him for a loop. But in that move, in that very specific move, she was calculated and knowing. She turned her back to the king. Okay? She was forewarned. You never, ever turn your back to the king. And she did an en passant of sorts. Okay? And that's all I'm gonna say. When he told her to go into the furthest corner of the room, in a dark, dimly lit room with this statue in the corner that she could have very well knocked over, she quite simply told him, I cannot go any further, otherwise I will knock over the statue. And then she quickly turned around. So whatever you would call that, but I'm going to tell you this right now, he appreciated it. And they made love. They literally made love, and in a way that which you could not even imagine two people would be able to make love, but they did. It was very passionate. It was amazing. So she removes his wig, his toupee, whatever. This was very commonplace back in the day in the aristocracy of it all. They were very, you know, like makeup lore and hair and the toupees of it all and everything, the regalia. So when I'm telling you, there was no way she could have known that this man wore fake hair at all. At all. He was shook. I was shook. I think she was shook that she even knew that. But that's like what I'm talking about. I mean, she had the context. She understood the assignment. I mean, Jean was a force to be reckoned with. Anyway, when he was courting her in his castle, he had a two-way mirror. And you could see into his bedroom. I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of cookie, but, you know, that's the way that they do it in Europe. You know what I mean? Especially back then. You know, anyway. He, from his actual chambers, not his chambers that he would retreat to and the major depressive disorder of it all, he disrobed for her. And the reason why she was kicked out of this, quite frankly out of many things, was because she refused to have people tell her what to do. When people would tell her to disrobe, she would simply not do that. Not for the sake of being an art model, not for the sake of anything. I mean, she had full autonomy over her life and her decisions, and he really liked that about her. But he understood that she was capable of being like trained in a certain capacity. You get what I'm saying? It is like court trained rather than media trained, which, you know, you can decipher what you want to from that. But anyway, neither here nor there. When she first met him, remember how I told you there was a ruby on his garb? Well, she wagered a bet with him. And ostensibly, the bet of it all, because she was a betting woman, was that she could do him one better. You know what I mean? So anyhow, things proceed, and they proceed very well, very amicably. And that court was like immaculate. And when they presented her to him right away, you could tell he was a very docile king. He was a very humble king. He had humility and he had empathy, which I actually rather appreciated. An example of this was that one person of his clergy presented him with paperwork that a man who was in prison ought to be freed, and he did not scoff at him. He simply wasn't combative. He was kind. However, when he finally got to her, and there is a procession, I mean, it was an extensive court. He was a big king, you know, he had a lot of affairs to handle, neither here nor there. When he saw her, oh my God, I mean, everyone gasped. They gasped. they could not believe that he would even just pay mind to. He was just very stoic. He was very certain. He was very much so, you know, I don't know, just straightforward, you know what I mean? But it was just that moment that took him, you know, another way, another direction on the chessboard of it all. I have no idea. But anyway, she was kind of confused a little bit, but that's okay. You know, now mind you, he's the king. He's married, he has kids. He is the wealthiest man in the nation. He's very discerned. He cannot be taken away from his work. And so they were like, oh, holy fuck. Like, is she going to be a new mistress? Is she going to be the new queen? Is she going to be some kind of housemaid? I don't fucking know. A servant? They had no idea. A concubine even? Who knows? A war prize? No one knew. Literally, no one knew what the fuck was going on. I'm not even so sure she was aware of what was going on. But anyway, she just went with it. She went with it. And I was like, good for you. Good for you. So, for their wedding, because, oh, trust me, they were fanning themselves. For their wedding, oh my God. They turned this hoe into a king. He turned that hoe into God. I bawled my fucking eyes out. How do you explain it? That man took a penny stock, because that's what it was worth to him. That coin, it was not worth, you know, all of the money in the world, right? Like, we're talking about priceless. He took a fucking Zulu stock, for all I'm concerned, and turned it into the kind of quantum immortality that I could never surmise, ever. And she had a lot to do with that, you know. It's like, it's just, how do you exist as an art piece when you're meant to be a war piece, a war prize, you know? Like, to become an art prize is just, I don't know how to say it.